Welcome back to the Map for College learning community. My name is Ernest Manelli, founder of My Action Plan for College. And this video will describe the importance of communicating your demonstrated interest in a specific college or university. The first thing I want to do is define what I term to be demonstrated interest. Nowadays, with the application process, you really, as a candidate, want to make sure that you are communicating your due diligence and your specific relationship that you are developing in terms of how you see the alignment developing between you as an applicant and you as a prospective student. Because the more competitive the admissions landscape gets, the more important it is for you to communicate a vision of something positive and something constructive. So I like to tell students to imagine themselves as a student at their first choice college or university. Try to design a perspective map as best you can. It could be a visual map, it could be something that you do on a speech recognition software in which you describe your ideas and then organize them later. However you want to do it. It could be verbal, it could be visual, it could be both. You could be brainstorming in conjunction with your family. However you want to do it. Design a perspective map of what your college career might look like. Now, you might not know for certain what major you might commit to, or if you might want to do a major minor combination between two different subjects. You may not know that information for sure as an applicant, but try to build on the frame of knowledge of what you do know. I'll give you a specific example. I took high school Spanish and I was really excited about it. I wanted to continue my language development in college, and I didn't want to start a new language. I wanted to continue with Spanish. So, one of the commitments that I made when I was applying to college was that I wanted to utilize certain elective core classes that I could choose of my own volition to continue my pursuit of the Spanish language, to become more fluent, to become more conversant in Spanish. And I was able to do that. And thankfully, with some great instruction, I was able to achieve that goal. So I knew that I wanted to continue my foreign language to the point of fluency and proficiency. And that was a really important goal of mine. And I communicated that as part of my application process. Now, you might also think for that particular school, what electives might you enjoy taking? What courses might you explore during your freshman year of college as a way to distinguish and discern among your different interests, if you have different interests that you're currently considering? What clubs or activities or sports might you like to join? Or what activities might you like to try for the first time? Maybe you'd like to try photography or go out for the debate team. Maybe you've never had a debate program at your high school, but maybe you want to give it a try. Maybe you want to sing in an a cappella band. We just don't know. So if you can communicate some of your levels of interest, both academically and also on the personal side, that would be very helpful for the admission staff to get to know you and get to know some of your priorities. Then I like students to take a step back. Think about the big picture and think about what kind of a contribution or a legacy would you like to leave as a part of that school's community. In other words, do you want to go, let's say, to a smaller school where you can get to know a core group of people really well, maybe keep certain friend groups going throughout your college experience? Or do you want to go to a bigger campus in which you might have more flexible friend groups and you might have to navigate a wider campus and you might have to do a lot more executive functioning planning to make that a successful experience? It can certainly be a successful experience. But in other words, how much of a campus do you want to navigate and what kind of legacy do you want to leave? Do you want to have a really good working relationship with your professors, or are you more independent, and could you thrive even in the context of large lecture style courses in which you may go to office hours once in a while, but you may not necessarily have that close working dialogue with many of your professors, because you might be the type of learner who is very independently minded and able to function very proactively in that regard. So another consideration would be whether you might consider the possibility of going on to graduate or professional school, or to compete for some sort of licensure or professional level of distinction within your field, career wise. Those are things that you can determine once you're at college, and once you get a really solid foundation, you'll have a much clearer idea. But if you happen to have a long range vision as a high school student, maybe to go pre med, pre law, pre education, pre engineering, pre architecture, whatever the case may be, graphic design, if you have a long range vision academically and career wise, the more that you can articulate that vision clearly and inspirationally as part of your application, the better the admission staff will get to know you, and the more likely that they would ask follow up questions potentially of your guidance counselor. Maybe within the context of an alumni interview, some questions might come up as a follow up in terms of what you've already submitted, and how you see future prospects developing for you. Now, once you've completed some initial level of research about a college or university, I really like you to think about what are the ways that you could craft an initial narrative, even if it's just a summary paragraph about what gifts and talents you have to offer. And that might be a little bit challenging for a high school student to complete that activity about themselves. So maybe you ask a friend or a family member to jumpstart the process and say, well, what are 3 adjectives that would describe me to an independent admission staff member who's just getting to know me based on my file? So you can ask for some level of support from family and friends, and then you can come up with a narrative that you can craft. And again, this would be an ongoing process. You would be editing your thoughts, coming to better sense of resolution about the prospective fit and the alignment with a specific college or university. And then one of the other elements of demonstrated interest is that you could reach out once you've done your initial due diligence, and once you have a really solid sense and a really solid perspective about what you might want to pursue and how you might want to leverage that education for that particular school, then finding out more, learning more about the alumni community might be very helpful. Learning more about the career services available to students would be helpful. Learning more about either from the freshman dean's office or from the Office of Student Support or Office of Academic Success. Every college tends to have some form of a structure of academic advising, of peer tutoring, and or of a combination of academic and department level advising. And if you can try to determine some of the strengths of those advising networks, you could potentially tap into that early in your college career, and that could really help with your transition to the college setting. Now, one of the things from an overarching standpoint is that when you're looking at a college, colleges need good students. They also want people who are going to be solid citizens. So you might want to consider the ways in which you will be asked to mature and take on new responsibilities and roles, both in the classroom and also as you navigate friendships and relationships and work constructively with roommates and people throughout the campus. So once again, please feel free to like this video and subscribe to our growing YouTube channel. Thank you.